Good afternoon, Joanna.
Good afternoon, Mr. Sheng.
Yes, I have watched your video link you have sent to me at Gmail. The
Oh,
three
that's good.
videos is useful and makes me know more about ADHD. And today, we are going to discuss about ADHD again. And do you know someone about ADHD?
Actually, I don't know anyone who has ADHD, but I am willing to learn more about these hyperactivity deficiencies, no?
Oh, yes. It's in otherwise, as you says, I have also searched some materials and I sent it to you at our Gmail. Um, and I have a question. I want to know what is ADHD?
Now I will
Yes.
share my PowerPoint presentation so our classmates can see it too.
Yes.
ADHD is attention deficit hyperactivity. So this is a disorder that is characterized by a pattern of inattention or hyperactivity, impulsivity, or both, no, that may interfere with someone's functioning or development.
I want to know and follow this PPT, I want to know the characteristics and how can we identify the children with ADHD.
There are three characteristics of ADHD. So they are the inattention, hyperactivity, and impulsivity, or both inattention and hyperactivity and impulsivity. So let us start with inattention. So people with ADHD, they often fail to give close attention to details, or they make mistakes, careless mistakes on tasks or activities. So they do not seem to listen when you spoke to them directly. Most of the time, they do not follow instructions and they fail to finish their activities. They have trouble organizing tasks and activities. They are reluctant or they are reluctant to do tasks that require mental effort over a long period of time. They also often lose their things. They easily get distracted and they can be forgetful about their daily routines. Let's talk about the hyperactivity and impulsivity. They often fidget with or tap hands or feet or even squirms in seats. So it is hard for them to sit still. They run or climb in situations where it is not appropriate. They are often restless actually. They are full of energy. They are unable to play or take part in activities quietly. They often talk excessively. They blur out the answer before a question has been completed. They have trouble waiting for their turn, and most of the time, they interrupt or intrude on others. In attention, hyperactivity, and impulsivity, you can see both characteristics or both symptoms.
Yes, these characteristics I think is not good for the children who can catch this disease. I think it's not good for his life and even their family. And behind this, I want to know what are the causes of this disease, ADHD.
There is a research that shows ADHD may be caused by a number of things. So it could be the brain anatomy and function. It is how someone's brain works. It frequently runs also in the family. So It could be because of their genes and because of their heredity. So a child with ADHD has a 1 in 4 chance of having a parent with ADHD. Another cause of ADHD could be a significant head injury in some cases. Also, those children who were born premature, they can also have a high risk of developing ADHD. Also, if an expectant mother is also exposed to alcohol or nicotine from smoking, then it also increases the risk of developing ADHD. In very rare cases, toxins in the environment may lead to ADHD. For example, lead in the body can affect child development and behavior.
Yeah. And what's the prevalence of attention defect or hyperactivity disorder?
Yeah. So, prevalence. What does prevalence means, no? So it is the proportion of population who have a specific characteristics in a given time period. So how do they estimate the prevalence? So what they do, they estimate the prevalence, they research randomly, they select a sample from the population that they want to describe. So using the random selection and the method that they use, they increases the chances that the characteristic of the sample will be representative of the characteristic of the population. To ensure that the selected sample is representative of an entire population, so the statistical ways may be applied. Okay, so let's talk about the prevalence they did at elementary school in Sharad in Iran. So they conducted the research prevalence of ADHD. So the cross-sectional study focused on teachers and parents of 779 elementary students who were selected through stratified cluster random sampling. So they used the Connors rating scale. So it is a questionnaire that asks about things like behavior, work, or schoolwork, and social life. So according to teachers' responses, the prevalence of ADHD among students in elementary school was 4.4%, whereas parents reported a prevalence of 0.5%. So there was a significant relationship between childhood ADHD and marital status of parents. Fathers who smoking, previous experience of living in rural areas, children's previous history of having diseases and using the medicine. So previous history of ADHD and psychological problems in the family. So according to the study, teachers and parents suffer from a lack of knowledge about ADHD. Therefore, the educational workshop and programs should be held for teachers, parents, and counselors to inform them about the procedures for timely diagnosis and treatment of ADHD. So, a mean worldwide prevalence of attention deficit hyperactivity disorder is actually negative 2.2%. It ranges from 0.1 to 8.1%. So it has been estimated in children and adolescents aged less than 18 years old. So the mean prevalence of ADHD in adults aged 18 and above up to 44 years old ranges from countries in Asia, Europe, and America, and even in the Middle East, was reported as negative 2.8% overall. So it ranges from 0.6 to 7.3%.
Thanks for your sharing. And I'm so lucky. I did smoking at 2019. I think smoke is really bad. But I want to know, otherwise, we are both teachers, and I want to know what are the special education or considerations for children with this disease?
Okay, so there are some school-based management strategies shown to be effective for those students who have ADHD. So they are behavioral classroom management and organizational training. So in the behavioral classroom management, the approach encourages students' positive behaviors in the classroom. So it could be through reward systems, or it could be on a daily report card, and it actually discourages the negative behaviors in the classroom. So this approach has been shown to influence student behavior in a constructive manner, and it increased academic engagement. While in organizational training, um, in here, they teaches children the time management and the planning skills and ways to keep school materials organized in order to optimize students' learning and reduce distractions. This management strategy has been tested with children and adolescents. So we have also accommodations. So most children with ADHD, they receive some school services such as special education services and accommodation. So there are two laws that govern special services and accommodation for children with disabilities. So they are the Individual with Disabilities Education Act, or IDEA, and Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973. Accommodations, IEP and 504 plans can offer accommodations for students to help them manage their ADHD. So it includes extra time on test, instruction and assignments tailored to the child, positive reinforcement, using technology to assist with tasks, allowing breaks or time to move around, changes to the environment to limit distraction, and extra help with staying organized. So there is limited information about which types of accommodations are effective for children with ADHD. However,
Yeah.
that setting clear expectations, providing immediate positive feedback, and communicating daily with parents through a daily report can also be helpful.
Yeah, as a teacher, and we want I want to know what can we do to help these students?
So the common interventions that teacher can do, we can give frequent feedback and attention to positive behavior. Teachers should be very sensitive. They should provide extra warnings before transitions and changes in routines. We should understand that children with ADHD may become deeply absorbed in activities that interest them and may need extra assistance shifting their attentions. We also have to make the assignments clear, the instructions very clear to them so they understand what we want them to do. We should provide choices to show mastery. For example, let the student choose among written essay, oral report, online quiz, or hands-on project. So we have to make sure assignments are not very long, they are not repetitive. So shorter are assignments that provide a little challenge without being too hard may work well. So we can also allow breaks for children, and paying attention takes extra effort and can be very tiring. We can allow them to move and exercise. We have to make sure that we minimize distractions in the classroom, and we use organizational tools such as the homework folder to limit the number of things that the child has to track. So we can
Yes,
also, yes,
we can also make a plan and to fit this kites. And what's
yes.
the point about our plan?
Yes, that's true. And so we can also observe and talk with the student about what helps or distract them. The noise can be distractive, background music or anything that really distract them. It depends on the child. So we
Yeah.
can also communicate with parents on a regular basis and involve the school psychologist or counselor if we have some issues with the kids, no? So,
Yeah.
in short, the close collaboration between the school, parents, and healthcare providers will help ensure the child gets the right support.
It's important for teachers like us to know, understanding, and get training, so we can be of great help to children with ADHD. We hope we learned something about our discussion, and have a great day, everyone.
Have a great day.
Bye
Goodbye.
bye.